Hello, my name is Gatekeeper Cat, and I'm going to show you today the basics of using the replay editor in Skated Dawn. So, in order to use the replay editor, you first need to record a replay. It depends on what platform you are on. So, if you are on PC, you can access it by pressing comma, which this little circle will show up, and that is basically a timer. When it runs out, you can't record anymore, the replay is over, and you can also stop it by pressing comma again. On mobile, I don't have a mobile on me right now, but if I go over here, it should be this button, I'm not sure. And if you're playing on console and don't have a keyboard, you can't record replays, there is no support for it yet. So I'm going to record here a replay as an example, alright, this works. I finished my recording my replay, and if I go to the main menu and click the replay editor, we're now accessing the replay. Right now, we can see the latest replay I've recorded. We have some stuff we can configure here, and I'm going to talk first about this. This pixelated photo is where you can access your replay. So this is the older replay I showed at the beginning. This button, you leave the replay mode, and this button, you hide the whole options thing. I don't really see a use for it, but you do you, I guess. And this one, this button, starts and stops your replay. And speed changes how fast the replay goes. So if I set it to 2, it's going to be double the speed. I normally set it to 1. It can go as low as... Oh, it can go as low as 0 apparently, but in case you want to do something like slow motion, I recommend setting it to like 0.3, I think. How does it look? Yeah, it works. And here we have our camera type, which we can make the camera be centered around our torso, head, and board. It depends what angle we are going to look for. I really like the board camera, but that's preference. And we have free cam, which you can move around using WSD. I'm not sure on how you move it using mobile, but I think you get an analog stick. We can change the speed using this value right here. So if I set it to 1, it's going to be quick. And if I set it to 0.1, it's going to be really slow. The field of view, or FOV, the lower the number, the more zoomed in the camera is. So if I set it to like 30, it's going to be really zoomed in. And I set it to 100, it's going to be really zoomed out. Another useful button is the look at player, and it only works on free cam, and it will automatically follow the player's torso. So if I go around like here, he's going to be following my torso. And it can be quite useful instead of just, moving your camera around when recording a replay. It looks really bad. Also, another option you're gonna be wanting to use is hide during play, hide while play. It hides the HUD while it's playing. So you can actually record something without the huge ass HUD in the middle. And that's, it's a pretty bare bones replay editor. It's nothing fancy, except the keyframe feature. Now, I'm going to give a little explanation of how keyframes work. Keyframes is basically when you tell in this case, I'm going to be using the skated editor, but this applies to a lot of other stuffs. This applies to 3D animation, video editing too. So keyframes is something really global, but I'm going to be specifying it on skated. So basically, when you press this button, you create a keyframe. You can see this little goldy bar thing. And basically what I'm doing is that I'm telling that to the editor, the camera needs to be in this position in this exact frame. So if I go like, I'm going to tell that I need the camera to be over here at this exact frame. What it will do is that it will interpolate it. So what does interpolation mean? It's going to move the camera smoothly until it reaches this exact frame on this exact angle. I'm going to press play and the camera is going to move until it reaches this exact frame. Then it will stop. Because it's going to be moving from this frame to this frame, that means if we slap this keyframe over here instead of over there, it's going to be faster. Or if I slap it all the way over here, it's going to be really slow. So I've made this simple choreography, and what you will notice is that if I get this on, it starts moving the camera. So when these two keyframes are the exact same value. This is a little trick that I use to get the camera moving when I want it to, is that I set two keyframes, these two have the exact same value. So when it goes from here to here, nothing happens because the value is the same. But these keyframes have different values, so the camera will move around, will interpolate until it reaches this camera position. Same for all the other keyframes here. They all have different values, so the camera will move around until it reaches this specific frame. Then it looks for the other keyframes. If it finds another keyframe, then it will start moving to the other keyframe. That is basically everything there is to show on the replay editor on Skated Dawn. It's, like I said, it's nothing big, nothing fancy, but it gets the job done, especially if you don't have a video editing software. It's a semi-user-friendly way to mess around with replays.